The cargo ship Silver Dawn drifted through the soft blue haze of Valora's orbit, its hull reflecting the light of the twin suns that burned above the planet. Inside the ship, the crew moved quickly, preparing for landing. Among them was a human technician named Rian, a calm and curious man who loved visiting alien worlds. He had traveled to more than a dozen planets in his short career, and Valora was one of the few that truly amazed him. From orbit, the world looked like a glowing gem, filled with rivers of light that shimmered across the dark side of the planet. As the ship entered the atmosphere, Ryan stood near the observation deck looking out at the view. He had read about Valora in the trade guide, which described its people as elegant, proud, and deeply rooted in their traditions. He knew he had to be careful with his words because every gesture or phrase could carry a meaning that humans might not understand. Still, he was excited to meet them. His job was to oversee the delivery of engineering parts to a Valoran energy station near the capital city of Alaris. The ship landed smoothly on the station's docking pad. The air outside shimmered with energy from the crystal towers that powered the city. Ryan stepped out, carrying a scanner in one hand and a small tablet in the other. Around him, dozens of alien workers moved about, their long robes fluttering as they coordinated unloading operations. The Valorans were tall and graceful, their skin glowing faintly with patterns of light that shifted when they spoke or laughed. To Ryan, they looked like living works of art. He checked the cargo manifest and began guiding his small robot assistants to unload the containers. As he worked, a gentle voice called out behind him. When he turned, he saw her. A young Valoran woman stood near the ramp watching the humans with curiosity. Her name was Lena, and she wore a simple gray robe with silver bands that glowed at the edges. Her bright eyes were full of interest as she looked at the human devices. She was younger than most of the workers around her, and clearly not part of the official crew. She smiled when she noticed Ryan staring at her, a friendly expression that broke through the formality of the Valoran crowd. Ryan gave a small wave, unsure if that was the right thing to do. "Hello there," he said carefully. "Are you part of the energy station staff?" Lena shook her head slightly. "No, I am just watching. My father is an officer in the city guard. I like to see the ships that come from other worlds." Her voice was calm and pleasant. Ryan could tell she was genuinely curious. He smiled and said, "Well, you picked a good time. We brought new converters from Earth. They should help your power grid run faster." She tilted her head. "Your people make strange machines. They look heavy, but you move them like they weigh nothing." Ryan laughed softly. "That is because humans like to make life easier. If we can build a machine to lift something for us, we will." Lena looked amused. "Then humans must be very clever." He shrugged. "We try our best." He noticed the way the sunlight reflected from the edges of her robe and said without thinking, "Your outfit looks nice in the light." "It suits you." For a moment, Lena froze. The glowing lines on her skin changed color slightly, turning a faint shade of pink. Then, to Ryan's surprise, she smiled brightly, almost as if she was pleased by his words. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft and cheerful. Around them, a few Valoran workers stopped what they were doing and looked in their direction. Ryan did not understand why they seemed surprised, but he assumed it was just because he was speaking to one of their people so casually. He carried on with his work, unaware that the compliment he had given might not mean the same thing to the Valorans as it did to humans. Lena, however, seemed to think about it a lot. She stayed near him, asking questions about the ship, the humans, and Earth itself. Ryan answered them all patiently, glad to have company. He told her about blue oceans, white clouds, and cities filled with millions of people. She listened closely, fascinated by the idea of a world that sounded so full of life. After a while, Lena brought him a small container of Valoran fruit juice, a gesture of thanks. Ryan accepted it gratefully, saying, "This tastes great." She laughed again, clearly enjoying his reaction. Her laughter was light and musical, and for a brief moment Ryan forgot he was on a world far from home. The two of them spent the rest of the work shift talking whenever they got a chance. When the sun began to set, the city lights came alive, turning the skyline into a sea of color. Ryan stood beside her, both watching the glowing towers. "It looks beautiful," he said quietly. "It does," Lena replied, "but I have always wanted to see another sky. My father says humans are too bold. He thinks they rush into the unknown without care." Ryan smiled. He might be right about that. But sometimes, if you never take a step forward, you never discover something amazing. Lena looked thoughtful. Maybe that is why humans travel so far. Before he could answer, a Valoran supervisor called him back to finish the last check of the cargo. Ryan promised Lena he would talk again before he left. She nodded and waved as he walked back toward the ship. When he returned to the crew quarters later that night, his teammate Milo was waiting for him, sitting by the window with a grin. "You made a friend out there," Milo teased. "That Valoran girl was smiling at you the whole time," Ryan shrugged. "She was just being kind." "We were talking about our worlds." Milo raised an eyebrow. "Did you compliment her by any chance?" Ryan frowned. "Why would that matter?" Milo chuckled. "Because on some planets, a compliment means more than it does to us. You might have just proposed marriage without knowing." Ryan laughed at the idea. "That cannot be true. I only said her outfit looked nice." Milo leaned back, still amused. "You better hope that's all it means here. Valorans are serious about respect and family honor." Ryan dismissed the thought, though a small part of him felt uneasy. He had read about alien customs, but he never expected a simple comment to cause trouble. Still, the day had gone well, and he was sure everything would be fine. The next morning, Ryan went back to the energy station to confirm that all the cargo was properly registered. As he walked through the main plaza, he saw Lena again, waiting near a fountain. She waved at him happily, holding a small book in her hands. "I wanted to show you something," she said when he approached. "These are pictures of our sky gardens. My father commands the guards who protect them." Ryan admired the pictures and said, "They are amazing." "You must be proud of your father," Lena smiled. "I am. He can be strict, but he is also kind when he wants to be." Ryan chuckled. "Sounds like most parents." She nodded and looked at him with bright curiosity. "Would you like to see the gardens yourself? I can take you there later." He hesitated, knowing that wandering into private areas might cause trouble, but her invitation sounded harmless and he did not want to seem rude. "If it is allowed, I would love to," he said. They walked together through the city later that day, moving past glowing towers and hovering carriages. Valora was full of life, with people speaking in melodic tones and markets filled with strange shining goods. Ryan found himself amazed at how different everything felt. Lena explained how the energy crystals powered their homes, their transport, and even their clothing. It was a peaceful society built on precision and respect. When they reached the gardens, Ryan was speechless. The air shimmered with tiny floating lights that looked like stars. Water flowed through clear channels that curved around luminous trees. It was one of the most beautiful places he had ever seen. "This is incredible," he said sincerely. "Your world is full of wonders," Lena smiled proudly. "Now you understand why we value beauty and order. My father says every word and every gesture must honor the balance of things." Ryan nodded. "That makes sense. I guess humans can be clumsy with that sometimes." She laughed softly. "Maybe, but sometimes clumsy words can still be honest." They walked quietly for a while until Lena's communicator chimed. She looked at it and her expression changed. "My father is nearby. He just finished his patrol. Would you like to meet him?" Ryan hesitated. "Your father? The city guard commander?" "Yes," she said innocently. "He is a good man. I think he will like you." Ryan smiled uncertainly, unaware that the compliment he had given her yesterday had already reached her father's ears. He had no idea that the simple phrase, meant only as kindness, was seen by Valoran culture as a deep, personal expression of affection. And Commander Thalos was not a man who ignored such things. As the suns dipped below the horizon, Ryan followed Lena along the glowing path toward a tall crystal building where her father was waiting. He did not know that his next few minutes would be far more challenging than unloading any cargo he had ever handled. The evening light spread across the city of Alaris like a golden wave. The two suns lowered beyond the tall crystal towers, and the glowing paths lit up with soft blue and green lights. Ryan followed Lena through a wide archway made of silver stone. Ahead of them stood a tall building that shimmered like glass. Guards in dark armor stood at both sides of the gate, each holding a staff that pulsed with pale energy. The symbol of the Valoran Guard was marked across their chests, and their faces were calm but alert. Lena smiled as she walked up the steps. "Do not worry," she said to Ryan, noticing the tension in his shoulders. "My father looks strict, but he listens when people speak with respect." Ryan nodded, but kept his head slightly down. He had faced angry trade officers before, but never the commander of an entire planetary guard. Inside the hall, Glowing crystals lit the walls with a steady light. Valoran banners hung above the doors, showing patterns that shifted like living art. Rian admired the architecture, trying to keep his thoughts calm. When they entered the main room, Ryan saw a tall man standing near the central table. His armor shone like polished steel and his eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. His expression was serious and his voice carried a weight of command. This was Commander Thalos, Lena's father. "Lena," Thalos said, his tone both warm and stern. "You were not supposed to bring visitors without notice." Lena bowed her head slightly. "I am sorry, father. I wanted you to meet Ryan, the human technician from the trade ship. He helped with the energy converters today." Thalos turned his gaze toward Ryan. The human straightened up and spoke carefully. "It is an honor to meet you, Commander. Your daughter has been very kind to explain your world to me." Thalos studied him for a long moment. "I have heard much about you already, human. It seems your words travel quickly in this city." Ryan blinked, unsure what he meant. "I hope it is all good, Commander." Thalos did not smile. "That depends on what you meant when you spoke to my daughter in the market." Lena looked startled. "Father, it was only a misunderstanding." Thalos raised a hand for silence. "Lena, I will hear him speak for himself." Ryan could feel the tension rise around him. The guards near the door shifted slightly as if ready for orders. He kept his voice calm. "Commander, I greeted your daughter politely. In my culture, giving a compliment is a sign of good manners. I did not mean to offend." Thalos's eyes narrowed. In Valoran custom, certain words carry deep meaning. To compliment the appearance of an unmarried daughter is considered a declaration of interest. "It is not spoken lightly." Rian swallowed hard. "I understand. On Earth, those words are simple kindness, not a promise. I spoke without knowing your ways, and I truly apologize." Lena stepped forward quickly. "Father, please, he did not mean anything wrong. He is respectful." Thalos looked at her, then at Ryan again. The silence stretched long. Finally, he said, "You speak with honesty, human, but our people value understanding above excuses. You must learn our ways if you wish to walk among us without causing trouble." Ryan nodded. "Then I will learn. I never wished to disrespect your people." Thalos gestured toward the table. "Sit, both of you." The guards relaxed slightly as they took their seats. A servant brought drinks made of glowing nectar that gave off a faint floral scent. Ryan tried to act calm, though he could feel his heart beating fast. Thalos sat across from him. "You work with machines, yes?" "Yes, Commander. I maintain ship systems and assist with station repairs." Thalos studied him with curiosity. "Humans build strange things. You create metal that can fly between stars, yet you still make mistakes with simple words. How do your people balance such differences?" Rian gave a small smile. "We are always learning. We make mistakes, then we try to fix them. It is not perfect, but it helps us grow." For the first time, a faint trace of approval appeared in Thalos's eyes. "That is a fair answer. Perhaps you are not as careless as the stories claim." Lena looked relieved. "Father, see? He is not like those traders who come only for profit." Thalos nodded slowly. "Perhaps not." He turned to Ryan again. "Tell me about your home. I wish to understand how your people live." Ryan spoke about Earth, describing the blue oceans, the forests, and the crowded cities filled with lights. He explained how humans worked together despite differences and how they tried to build peace after many hard centuries. Thalos listened with interest, his expression thoughtful. When Ryan finished, Thalos leaned back. "Your world sounds full of struggle and hope. It reminds me of the old days of Valora, when our people fought among themselves before the Great Union. Perhaps humans and Valorans share more than we think." Ryan nodded. "Maybe that is why we can learn from each other." Thalos considered this and finally stood. "I will not punish a man for ignorance when he shows respect. You have spoken with honesty, and that earns trust. Still, I expect you to understand our customs before you speak to my daughter again." Lena looked at her father. "Father, he has already promised to learn." Thalos gave a short nod. "Then he will have a teacher." Lena's face brightened. "You mean me?" "Yes," Thalos said firmly. "You will teach him our manners and language. If he learns well, I will consider this matter closed." Ryan bowed his head slightly. "Thank you, Commander. I am grateful for your patience." Thalos turned to leave. "See that you make use of it, human. Valora is not kind to those who treat honor lightly." When he left the room, the tension seemed to fade. Ryan exhaled quietly and looked at Lena, who smiled gently. You handled that better than I thought you would. Ryan gave a small laugh. I thought I might be arrested for saying the wrong thing. Lena giggled softly. You almost were. My father values respect more than most. But now that he has allowed me to teach you, he must trust you a little. Ryan smiled. Then I had better learn quickly. The next morning, Lena met him outside the station with a small data tablet filled with Valoran symbols. Lesson 1, she said cheerfully, is about greetings. When you meet someone of high status, you place your hand over your chest and bow slightly. It shows respect without lowering your head completely. Ryan copied the motion. Like this? She nodded. Good, but do not bend too much. It can look weak. They spent the next few hours practicing gestures and phrases. Lena explained how every color and tone in the Valoran glow language carried meaning. The brightness of their markings could express joy, calmness, or anger. Ryan found it fascinating, and although it was difficult at first, he slowly began to understand the rhythm of their culture. At midday, they stopped near a fountain for lunch. Ryan tasted more Valoran fruit and smiled. Your food is amazing, Lena laughed. Careful. On our world, compliments about food are safe. Compliments about people are not. Ryan grinned. Then I will remember that. As they talked, a group of young Valorans passed by, whispering among themselves. They looked at Ryan curiously. Lena noticed and frowned slightly. Do not mind them. Some still think humans are too casual. They do not understand that kindness is not always romance. Ryan nodded. That happens everywhere. Some people fear what they do not know. Lena's expression softened. You speak wisely for someone who almost caused a diplomatic crisis. He chuckled. I learn fast when survival depends on it. Later that day, Lena brought him to a hall filled with holographic displays of Valoran history. They showed the rise of the cities, the wars of unification, and the peace that followed. Ryan watched in awe. Your people have come a long way, Lena said proudly. Yes. We learned that peace lasts only when honor is shared by all. That is why my father guards it so closely. Ryan nodded. He sounds like a good leader. She smiled. He is. But sometimes his pride blinds him to simple things. I think meeting you may change that a little. Ryan felt grateful for her kindness. Then maybe some good came from my mistake after all. Before sunset, Thalos summoned both of them again. The commander stood near a balcony overlooking the glowing city. Ryan, he said, I have spoken with the Trade Council. They respect your willingness to learn. You are free to continue your work here as long as you follow our customs. Ryan bowed respectfully. Thank you, Commander. Thalos studied him for a moment, then gave a rare, small smile. Lena tells me you learn quickly. That is good. The galaxy needs fewer fools and more listeners. Lena looked pleased. See, Father, I told you he understands. Thalos turned toward his daughter. Perhaps you are right. But remember, Lena, the world watches how you guide him. Ryan felt the weight of the words, but also a sense of relief. The storm had passed, replaced by a cautious peace. He looked out at the horizon where the twin suns met the sky. For the first time since landing on Valora, he felt that this strange and beautiful world might become a place of friendship rather than misunderstanding. The next morning, the city of Alaris glowed with the soft light of the twin suns. The streets were calm as Ryan followed Lena through winding pathways lined with crystalline buildings. He carried a small satchel with his tools and data tablets, but his mind was more focused on learning the ways of the Valorans. After yesterday's tense encounter with Commander Thalos, he wanted to be careful with every word and gesture. Lena walked confidently beside him, her glowing robes reflecting the morning light. Today, she said, we begin the lessons. First, you must understand how we speak with our hands and our glow. Every movement matters, Ryan nodded. I understand. I want to do everything correctly. They arrived at a quiet courtyard filled with small glowing fountains. The water sparkled with tiny lights, giving the space a peaceful and magical feeling. Lena gestured for him to sit on a low stone bench. First, greetings, she explained. She demonstrated a gesture with her right hand over her chest while slightly bowing her head. This shows respect to anyone older or in authority. Ryan mirrored her movements carefully. Like this? Better, she said with a gentle smile. But remember to keep your back straight. A slouched bow shows weakness. Valorans value posture as much as words. Ryan corrected his stance. I see, posture is part of respect. Exactly, Lena said. Next, our glow language. The lines that run along your skin change brightness and color with emotion. You must learn to read them. Humans do not glow, so we pay attention to small gestures, tone of voice, and the way someone carries themselves. She waved her hand, and the glowing patterns on her skin shifted from soft blue to faint gold. This shows calmness and trust, but notice the lines along my shoulders. They are sharper when I am alert or cautious. Ryan studied her carefully. So, by watching closely, I can understand what someone feels? Yes, Lena said. It is not exact, but it helps avoid mistakes. You already saw what can happen if you misread the signals. Ryan nodded. I learned that yesterday. I hope I will not make the same mistake again. Lena laughed softly. Humans are persistent. That is good. Now gestures with hands. Some movements are polite, some are private, and some are disrespectful. If you move your hands incorrectly, it can offend someone without a single word. Ryan practiced the gestures slowly. Lena corrected him gently each time. Hours passed as he repeated the movements until his body began to remember the rhythm of Valoran communication. By midday, he was able to greet a small group of workers correctly, using the hand gestures and the bow. Lena watched with a proud smile. You are improving quickly, she said. Your mistakes yesterday were forgiven because of your honesty, but now you will show respect through actions. Ryan smiled. I want to earn their trust. I do not want to cause trouble again. Good, Lena said. That is the spirit of a human worth teaching. After their practice, Lena led Ryan to a small garden filled with luminous plants. The air was sweet with fragrance and soft music played from hidden crystals. This is where Valorans reflect, she explained. We come here to calm our minds and understand our own feelings. Understanding yourself is the first step to understanding others. Ryan walked slowly among the plants, studying the way they glowed and swayed. Your world is very peaceful, he said. I have never seen anything like this. Lena nodded. It is peaceful, but we also value vigilance. Beauty is not weak. It teaches patience, discipline, and respect for life. Commander Thalos believes that anyone who wishes to enter our world must understand this first. Ryan glanced at her. I hope I can understand it all in time. You will, Lena said confidently. Humans are adaptable when they try. As they walked back toward the city, they noticed a group of children playing near a fountain. Their glow lines flickered with excitement and they waved at Ryan. He waved back carefully, following the rules Lena had taught him. One of the children giggled, pointing at his awkward gesture. Lena laughed softly. They test newcomers to see if they are learning. You passed. Ryan smiled, feeling a small sense of pride. Then I am learning. Later, they returned to Lena's home, a crystal structure near the edge of the city. Inside, the walls were decorated with holographic images of valor and history. Lena showed Ryan how each display told a story of honor, courage, and respect. Our people have built this society carefully. We value every gesture, word, and choice. You are seeing it firsthand. Ryan studied the displays carefully. It is impressive. I can see why respect is so important. Lena nodded. You will meet my father again soon. He will judge your progress. If you fail to show respect, you will not gain his trust. Ryan swallowed nervously. I will do my best. That evening, a soft chime rang through the house. Lena's father, Commander Thalos, had arrived. He entered the room with a serious expression, but this time there was no anger. He observed Ryan quietly for a long moment. You have practiced, Thalos said finally. I can see that you have learned quickly. That is good. Many outsiders fail because they do not try. Ryan bowed slightly. Thank you, Commander. I have learned from Lena's guidance. I will continue to learn every day. Thalos studied him, his eyes glowing faintly. Then you understand the importance of respect. But now you must show it in action, not only in practice. Ryan nodded. The morning on Valora began with a gentle light that spread across the city like liquid silver. Ryan woke early in the quarters provided for him at the energy station. He could hear the soft hum of the city as it came alive, crystal towers glowing faintly and transport carriages moving silently through the streets. Today was a special day. Lena had promised to teach him more about Valoran culture and customs, and he knew this lesson would be even more important than the last. When he stepped outside, Lena was waiting near the edge of the plaza. She smiled as he approached. Good morning, Ryan, she said warmly. Today we will learn about social gestures, personal space, and how to show respect without words. It is more than just manners. It is how Valorans understand each other. Ryan nodded, adjusting the small tablet at his belt that contained his notes from previous lessons. "I am ready," he said. "I will pay close attention." Lena led him through the streets, pointing out subtle gestures. Notice how everyone maintains a small distance while talking. This is considered polite. You do not touch unless invited. If someone leans in, it shows trust. Ryan observed closely. He saw humans often leaned forward during conversation, but here even a small step too close could be seen as disrespectful. He tried to mirror the posture of the Valorans as he listened. They reached a hall where young Valorans practiced ceremonial dances. Lena explained, "These dances are not for entertainment alone. They show coordination, respect, and understanding. Every movement communicates something about the individual and the group." Ryan watched as the dancers moved gracefully, their glowing markings changing with every step. He was fascinated. "It is beautiful," he said. "And every movement has meaning?" "Yes," Lena said. "A wrong step can show disrespect. Even if unintentional, it is noticed." As they walked further, Lena introduced Ryan to some of her friends. "These are my classmates. They help me learn new customs too," she said. The young Valoran smiled at Ryan, observing him with curiosity. He greeted them using the gestures Lena had taught him. His posture and tone were careful, and Lena watched him with pride. One of the girls, Mira, nodded at him approvingly. "You have learned quickly," she said. "Humans rarely understand the subtleties so soon." Ryan smiled. "I am grateful for Lena's teaching. Without her, I would not understand nearly as much." Mira laughed softly. "Then you have an excellent guide." After introductions, Lena led Ryan to a quiet garden high above the city. The garden was filled with floating plants glowing softly in the morning light. Small streams ran through the center, and the air smelled faintly of flowers and crystal dew. "Here's a place where Valorans come to reflect and speak truthfully," Lena explained. "It is safe to practice what you have learned here." Ryan followed her to a bench near the largest stream. "I feel honored to be here," he said quietly. "It is unlike any place I have ever seen," Lena nodded. "It is a part of our culture that humans rarely witness. Many travelers only see the surface of Valora. They do not understand the depth of our customs." Ryan listened carefully as Lena explained the importance of honesty and respect in communication. She showed him how small gestures, changes in voice tone, and the way one looked at another could convey respect or displeasure without words. He practiced along with her, learning to bow slightly, adjust the brightness of his markings, and maintain appropriate space. As they practiced, Ryan asked questions. "How do Valorans respond if someone makes a mistake by accident?" Lena smiled. "It depends on the intention. If it is honest, then patience is given. If it is careless or harmful, it is corrected firmly. My father often says that understanding is as important as tradition. Mistakes are teachers, but only if humility follows." Ryan considered her words. "Then I must always be aware of both my actions and my thoughts." "Exactly," Lena said. "A human can survive here if they listen and respect. Words are not enough. Every gesture, every step, every glance matters." They continued practicing until the suns were high overhead. Lena stopped and said, "Now let us meet someone who will test what you have learned." She led Ryan to a small pavilion where a young Valoran official waited. The official's markings were brighter than the others, indicating experience and rank. "This is Taris," Lena explained. "He will help you practice social interactions in a controlled setting." Taris bowed slightly at Ryan, and Ryan returned the gesture as he had learned. The official spoke in melodic tones, testing Ryan on greetings, responses, and gestures. Ryan followed Lena's instructions carefully. Each time he performed correctly, Taris nodded and Lena whispered corrections when needed. By midday, Ryan had gained more confidence. He could greet, respond, and interact with Valorans without fear of offending. Lena watched him with pride. "You are improving faster than I expected," she said. "My father will notice." After training, Lena took Ryan to a small open terrace overlooking the city. "This is where leaders sometimes meet their visitors," she said. "It is also a place to show respect and humility." Ryan looked out at the city below. The streams of light that flowed through the streets created patterns like moving rivers of energy. "It is incredible," he said. "The city feels alive," Lena smiled. "Our people believe that life and energy are connected. Everything we do honors the balance of the world. Even a simple conversation can affect that balance." Ryan nodded. "Then I understand why my words yesterday mattered more than I realized." Lena reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. You have learned much already, but there is one final lesson for today. You must meet my father again, not as a guest, but as someone who has earned his respect. Ryan's heart beat faster. I am ready, he said. They walked to Thalos's office, where the commander awaited. His presence was calm but commanding. Ryan, he said, I understand you have spent the day learning. Let me see how well you have listened. Thalos asked questions about gestures, greetings, and social interactions. Ryan answered carefully, demonstrating the movements and tones he had practiced. Thalos observed silently, his eyes sharp and thoughtful. When Ryan completed the last demonstration, the commander nodded slowly. You have listened and learned. You show respect through your actions, not just your words. This is what Valorans value most. Ryan bowed his head respectfully. Thank you, Commander. I am grateful for the guidance. Thalos smiled faintly, a rare expression of approval. You have made progress. Your understanding shows that humans can adapt when they choose to respect others. That is an important lesson for anyone traveling in the galaxy. Lena watched with joy. Father, see how much he has grown today? Thalos looked at her and nodded. Yes, Lena, you have done well to guide him. Both of you honor the traditions of our people through patience and diligence. Ryan felt relief wash over him. He had faced one of the most important figures on the planet and earned his respect. It was not only a personal achievement, but also a step toward building trust between humans and Valorans. After the meeting, Lena and Ryan walked through the city streets, now quiet as evening approached. The glow of the crystal towers reflected on the surface of the paths, creating a magical scene. You did well, Lena said softly. I think my father sees you not as an outsider, but as a friend. Ryan smiled. I could not have done it without your help. You taught me more than I could have learned on my own. She laughed lightly. That is why I am here. We help each other understand our worlds. As they walked back toward the energy station, Ryan realized how much he had changed in just one day. He had learned that respect, humility, and attention to detail were more important than quick thinking or casual words. He had seen that small gestures could carry more meaning than any machine he had ever built. When they reached the station, Lena paused. Tomorrow we will continue. There are more lessons about communication and honor, but for now, rest. You have earned it, Ryan nodded. Thank you. I will be ready. As he entered his quarters, he looked out at the glowing city below. For the first time, he felt that humans and Valorans could truly understand each other. The day had been challenging, but it had also been rewarding. Through respect and learning, he had found a place in a world far from home. Ryan sat quietly, reflecting on everything he had experienced. He knew that tomorrow would bring more lessons and perhaps more challenges, but he also knew that he was ready to face them, guided by friendship, respect, and a desire to understand. For the first time on Valora, he felt that he belonged. The morning sun rose over Valora, casting a soft golden glow across the city of Alaris. The twin suns reflected off the crystal towers, making the entire city shimmer like a sea of light. Ryan stood on the balcony of his quarters, looking out at the bustling streets below. Today was different. He felt a quiet excitement mixed with anticipation. After days of learning and practicing Valoran customs with Lena, he was finally ready to meet her father, Commander Thalos, for the final time. Lena arrived at the station just as Ryan finished preparing his notes. She carried a small crystal charm in her hand. The charm glowed faintly with a soft blue light. Good morning, Ryan, she said warmly. Today you will meet my father not as a visitor, but as someone who has earned his respect. Ryan nodded and smiled. I hope I'm ready. I have learned so much, but I still feel nervous. Lena laughed softly. Do not worry. You have done well so far. Your respect and patience will speak louder than words. The walk to Commander Thalos's office was quiet. The streets of Alaris were alive with people and light, but there was a calm order to the city that felt comforting. Ryan observed the citizens, noticing the careful gestures and polite interactions between individuals. Every movement, every tone, every glance carried meaning, and he now understood how important it was to pay attention. When they reached the office, Thalos was already waiting. His armor gleamed in the morning light and his expression was calm but sharp. Lena stepped forward and introduced Ryan. Father, this is Ryan. He has been learning our customs and ways, and I believe he is ready to meet you properly. Thalos studied Ryan closely, his glowing eyes reflecting his careful assessment. "Ryan," he said in a firm but measured tone, "I have observed your progress. I wish to see if your actions match your words. Demonstrate the understanding you have gained." Ryan bowed respectfully, keeping his hands at his sides. "Commander Thalos, I am ready to show what I have learned. I have studied your gestures, tones, and customs, and I will act with respect and care." Thalos nodded and gestured toward the room. Several young Valorans entered, each taking a position as if to simulate social interaction. Ryan's task was to respond appropriately, using the lessons he had practiced with Lena. The first scenario involved a greeting of high-ranking citizens. Ryan bowed slightly, placing his hand over his chest. He adjusted the brightness of his markings to show humility and attentiveness. The Valorans observing him nodded approvingly. Thalos watched closely, noting the precision of each gesture. Next, a scenario tested his understanding of conversation etiquette. Ryan spoke politely, asking questions and responding without making assumptions. He noticed subtle changes in the observer's markings and adjusted his responses accordingly. Lena whispered gentle reminders when necessary, and Ryan followed her guidance carefully. After several exercises, Thalos finally spoke. "You have observed, listened, and applied your knowledge correctly. Your gestures show respect, your words show care, and your attention to detail shows understanding. You have earned my recognition, Ryan." Ryan bowed deeply. "Thank you, Commander Thalos. Your guidance has been invaluable. I am grateful for your patience and for allowing me to learn." Thalos gave a small, rare smile. "I see that humans can adapt when they truly wish to understand. This is a lesson not only for you, Ryan, but for all who travel among different worlds. Respect is universal, though its forms may differ." Lena looked at her father, pleased. "Father, see how well he has learned?" Thalos turned to her and nodded. "You have done well to guide him, Lena. Both of you honor the traditions of our people. Remember, respect is not only learned through words or gestures, but also through action and consistency." Ryan felt a deep sense of pride. He had faced the most intimidating figure on the planet and had gained his respect. More importantly, he had learned lessons that went beyond simple customs. He now understood that understanding, patience, and humility were as powerful as any technology he had ever worked with. After the formal lesson, Thalos invited Ryan and Lena to the balcony overlooking the city. "Look at this world," he said. "Every citizen contributes to its balance, every gesture and word matters. Humans often travel far without realizing the influence they carry. You, Ryan, have shown that one can honor another culture while staying true to oneself." Ryan nodded. "I will remember this lesson always, Commander. I hope to carry it wherever I go." Thalos looked thoughtful. "Humans are different from Valorans, yet you have shown patience, humility, and respect. These qualities are valuable in any world. I see now that friendship between our peoples is possible." Lena smiled, holding the small crystal charm she had brought. "Ryan, this is for you. It is a symbol of friendship and trust. May it remind you of what you have learned and the bond we share." Ryan accepted the charm carefully. It glowed softly in his hand, a simple but powerful reminder of the connections he had made. "Thank you, Lena. I will treasure it." Thalos watched the exchange quietly. "This is how understanding begins," he said. "Not through words alone, but through learning, patience, and shared experience. You have shown that even someone from a distant world can honor our ways and become part of our story." The three of them stood in silence for a moment, gazing out at the city. The streams of light from the towers flowed like rivers, and the air shimmered with energy. Ryan realized that this was more than a lesson in culture. It was a demonstration of how humans and Valorans could build trust, cooperation, and friendship across worlds. As the day progressed, Ryan accompanied Lena on a walk through the city. She introduced him to her friends and colleagues, showing that he could navigate social situations with ease. They visited the floating gardens where the streams of light reflected off crystal leaves. Ryan marveled at the beauty and harmony of the environment. Lena explained, "Our world thrives on balance. Technology and nature coexist. Energy flows in harmony with life. Every citizen contributes to this balance through action and respect." Ryan looked around thoughtfully. "It is remarkable. I see now why your customs are so strict. They protect more than tradition. They protect the very essence of your world." Lena nodded. "Yes, and now you understand that respect is not only about avoiding mistakes. It is about participating in the harmony of life itself. As the sun began to set, casting the city in a warm golden glow, Rian knew his time on Valora was coming to an end. He had learned more than he expected. He had made a friend in Lena, earned the respect of her father, and discovered a new understanding of cultural harmony. Before returning to the station, Thalos met him one last time. Ryan, your journey here has shown that humans can act with honor and understanding. You leave as a friend to Valora, not only to my daughter and me, but to our people. Carry this lesson with you to your world and perhaps share it with others. The galaxy grows safer when respect guides action. Ryan bowed deeply. Thank you, Commander Thalos. I will honor this trust and teach others what I have learned. Lena smiled, holding the glowing charm. We will remember you, Ryan. You have shown that kindness, curiosity, and respect can build bridges between worlds. Ryan felt a deep warmth in his heart. He realized that the lessons he had learned would stay with him forever. Through patience, humility, and careful attention, he had found friendship, understanding, and acceptance in a world far from Earth. As he boarded the Silver Dawn for his return journey, he looked back at the glowing city one last time. The lights of Alaris reflected like a river of stars, and he knew that he had made a lasting connection. The people of Valora had shown him that human values of curiosity, respect, and sincerity could thrive even among alien civilizations. Rian sat in the observation deck, holding the crystal charm in his hand. Lena's laughter and her father's thoughtful words echoed in his mind. He felt a sense of belonging that went beyond simple friendship.
He understood that even a small human could leave a positive mark on a distant world through honesty,
learning, and respect. The stars outside the ship were bright and clear, and the vastness of space seemed less lonely now. He realized that the galaxy was not only a place of exploration and technology, but also of connection and understanding. He had traveled far, not only in distance but in heart and mind. As the Silver Dawn left Valora's orbit, Ryan felt a quiet determination. He would carry the lessons of respect, humility, and understanding to every corner of the universe he visited. The galaxy was full of mysteries, but it was also full of people and cultures waiting to be understood. And somewhere on Valora, Lena watched the departing ship, smiling. She knew that the human she had guided had truly learned. He was not just a visitor, he was a friend. The sun set behind the crystal towers and the city glowed gently in the night. The bond between worlds had been forged, and through respect and understanding, a new chapter in interstellar friendship had begun. Rian leaned back, feeling hope and pride. He understood now that friendship, respect, and learning could cross any distance, and that humans, when guided by sincerity, could truly shine among the stars. He closed his eyes, ready for the journey ahead, knowing that Valora and its people had changed him forever. The galaxy was wide, full of challenge and wonder. But with respect and understanding, it could also be a place of lasting friendship.